Hey everyone, this is Talkative Carl back again for another spoiler review of season 4 of Jackie Chan Adventures. Uh, Wanted to put this up yesterday, but I was kind of tired, didn't have enough time after I did my other discussion video, which you should highly check out. The uh, discussion video about what anime villains deserve their own TV series in the vein of the Loki series. Check out my choices and my thoughts on the subject on the channel. But today I will be going over season 4 of Jackie Chan Adventures. And this was easily one of my favorite seasons, aside from the first one, where they travel around the world retrieving Oni mask. Apparently, these Oni masks, which were hinted by either last season or season 2, where Jade had like a tattoo of the king of the Onis, Tarakudo, that allowed her to summon Shadow Khan, but also was possessing her. Now gets to have his own season and get that fleshed out. Uh, uh, this is like a very Toru kind of, kind of arc in a way, because usually, as Uncle has, stated in the first episode, that all their past enemies, by and large, have been Chinese-centered antagonists. But this is the first time where Uncle, get a little bit of humbling himself by the fact that he has to now, not being sidelined, but has to stand aside and let his apprentice Toru take the helm, because he's a little bit out of his depth with dealing with Japanese, because Toru's Japanese, threats. And we'll go over each of the Onis, they have to tackle, their wearers, and so forth. So yeah, the episode 1, like the Mask of the Shadow Khan, Dalon Wong accidentally summons the demon Tarakudo while attempting to escape prison, and Tarakudo took in Finn, Chow, and Ratso with him outside the prison, leaving Dalon Wong back in the cell, because it's not a Dalon Wong thing anymore. And I love the voice actor of Tarakudo. He's like equal parts terrifying, but equal parts funny. And he's just like, doesn't hesitate to make a joke or like just mess with people. Because apparently, because he wants his demon generals who were turned into masks. But I got the information here. The Oni masks, who only are Japanese demons, just so you know. The Oni masks are a collection of masks originating from Japan, each created by ancient good chi wizards to steal the spirits of Tarakudo and his 9 Oni generals within them. The masks were then scattered to the 4 corners of the earth to ensure that the Oni could never again rise to power. As Toru states, Tarakudo's reign came to an end when the spirits of his generals were trapped within masks. 9 generals, 9 masks. And each of these masks controls a different tribe of Shadow Khan. So the Shadow Khan they previously had to tangle with, which were sent by Sandu. The first mask that he picked up was Rai Raku's mask, who controlled the ninja tribe of Shadow Khan, and was stolen and possessed by Shandu. I'm about to say Shao Kahn. Shandu, who utilizes the mask power to summon and control the Ninja Khan, to do his bidding. on the chi wizard who had to steal this demon away used Japanese steel in order to uh uh you know seal him away. Chow wore this mask in this episode. And it was a funny little ongoing joke throughout this season where Hafu really wants a mask. And it wasn't until the tail end of the season when he actually got to. But he gets the disappointed look on his face is hilarious. It's like, I wanted that mask. And it was so defeatist and so funny. It's just like, and it's like he says like a serious threat, but when he becomes a butt of a joke from after the point of his first episode introduction, it's kind of like he became Toru as like the butt of a joke as an opposing threat as he becomes so easily the butt of a joke, and I love it. And the demon possessed mask, turns the rare, slowly evil, and they become like just as strong as anybody wielding the Ox Talisman, because Chow can easily like lift Toru with one hand and just toss him. As small of a frame as Chow is, he tosses Toru like a ragdoll with very easy. So and then the demonic voice that comes out of their mouth as they're slowly being possessed by these demons, it's just like further highlights how of a bigger threat they are. But eventually they tear that sucker off. The next episode, like Samurai Ratsu is the next one who gets the demon Murasaki's mask, and his ninja Shadowkan tribe is the Razor Khan, and it's pretty much like just like ninjas, but taller, lankier, but kind of got like Wolverine / Freddy Krueger claws on their hands, so they just like slice everything up. And it was funny how because Ratso is so dumb, not like dumb, but it's just kind of like he's such a idiot. He's like he having trouble summoning more than one or two Shadowkan. He's like kind of had to really focus, as opposed to anybody else who can just easily just by snapping their fingers, they summon them very easily. But the only way to get the mask off of him is to use Japanese silk. Oh, but this is like like I mentioned about a moment for Uncle. Since Uncle's typical ways of dealing with threats is pretty neutralized for the most part. Uncle starts to feel useless because Toto's more knowledgeable of this particular subject. But he gets his moment when he comes back to save his family. But it was like a nice moment where it's like, this is like a nice moment where you can learn from your apprentice. Where maybe next time, along the way, a next threat, after you become more knowledgeable, you can just as easily handle it, because it's kind of like you're master of one subject, but you can always teach a old dog new tricks kind of situation. The next thing, the next Onimax, which attaches to Jay's dog Scruffy, who we haven't seen since the previous season when they was tracking down the noble animals. Which is funny. It's like, okay, it's kind of like a throwaway character in a way. It's like you only brought the dog in just to be possessed by a demon mask, and we never seen Scruffy ever again. Uh, Maybe in the next season we'll see the dog one more time, but the dog was kind of prominent because he was like a noble animal in the last season, but uh, we haven't seen him until this episode, and we haven't seen him since, and it's like I don't know. I kind of feel bad for Scruffy, but then again, it's like you might as well just had done away with it. Not like kill off Scruffy, but it's just like maybe have Jay's parents take care of Scruffy or something, or at least have Scruffy. Well, you can't bring Scruffy along on every single trip. That's the thing. They constantly have to put the dog probably in a kennel or something like that. But it's just like you really don't make Scruffy like the part of the family. It's like you drop him off so you can go on your adventures without even thinking about it. But the dog was possessed by Kiru's mask. He has the tribe of Bat Kahn. It's kind of like bat-like ninja clan that Scruffy just like howls and summons. In order to defeat this mask, they needed Japanese rice. The next one is probably my favorite episode, and this is one where Captain Black gets more of a shine as compared to others when he feel like he's being sidelined, or he's like the Nick Fury of it all, where he doesn't get much to do, but just let people know the mission and stuff like that. Because he's a secret agent, he knows his stuff too. He knows how to fight and everything like that. But it's like when he's dealing with all these supernatural threats, he's kind of like just being tossed to the side like a rag doll half the time. He unwillingly ends up wearing the next Oni mask, the Midori's mask, and it summons Sumo Shadow Khan, and these big bruises, kind of like almost in the same, almost like roughly the same height as, or at least maybe taller than even Toru in a way, And it's twice as tall and 5 times as wide as regular humans. So, so it's like a very tough raw hide of these things. They're like very imposing type of creatures, and not as easily to dissipate as other Shao Kahn were, which is not frail, but easy for a human to like try to like take down at least one. But in this episode, you get like Captain Black like slowly starting to like, you get to see like, because others have been like either like the dog who can't really articulate the slowly changing demonic possession of his spirit. The others like Ratso and Chow were already kind of like like doing bad stuff, or at least won't flinch at taking advantage to do to get certain advantages by using this bad thing. Captain Black, as Uncle states, like his good nature for the most part is keeping this mask at bay, but little by little he's being taken over, where he's like he's starting to like relieve of duty all his agents, where to have a tireless workforce like his Sumokon taking over the base of Section 13 at this point. And he's starting to lock up people, the mass who's perverting his idea of what bad people are. Like one dude in like a like a mascot or something like that, is being locked up in Section 13. And it's like, and they try not, Jackie and Jada is trying not to like tick this dude off, because like they didn't want they want to make sure they have the means necessary to remove the mask, but beforehand they just have to play nice just to avoid get on his bad side because you can see the turn. But then Jade had a bright idea to like use the Tiger Talisman, which is the first time we actually get to see the Tiger Talisman used on somebody other than Jackie, and he separated the good half of Captain Black from the bad half, who is still wearing the mask. So, they finally get Captain Black, this is the bad side, to remove the mask from the bad side, and Captain Black rejoined with his bad side to be whole again. But they use rare Japanese seaweed in order to take this mask off. Now, this one is, very comedic of a possession. The Isazuki mask, who summons Samurai Khan, which is more like one of my favorites. But it was they caught the mask, but before Finn, Ratso, and Chow managed to grab a hold of it, they end up using the rat talisman to bring it to life. But for some idiot, I never understood this reason. The fact that they thought they can interrogate this demon by bringing it to life with the rat talisman, so they don't have to they can interrogate it. It's like, you're dealing with a demon, and you think you can question it like any other purpose to reveal secrets to bring down Tarakudo and other information. What makes you think he was gonna divulge any information like that at all? That was idiotic to me. It's like that was like a dumb decision. And lo and behold, this mask, bites on hold of because this was an interesting episode. Despite that idiotic choice, it was an interesting episode where the mask escapes, but mostly because in this episode, Toru and Uncle had a fight. This is like a turning point for both of them, because for up to this point, Uncle is very badgering and just like a naggy, cranky, like more of a not like to anybody, but it's like when he's ordering Toru around, it's like they just got back from getting this mask. They're all tired. It's jet lag to hell. They want to take a respite for a moment before doing the next thing. But, Uncle is like, one more thing, sweep up this, one more thing, tell the guards, one more thing, come to fix up the next locator spell. One more, and it's like Toru just want to take a minute to take a shower because early in the episode he got covered in fish again. He hates fish, as he likes to states all the time. But it's like, and then Uncle got the nerve to just bring take a shower. You smell like fish. It's like one more thing, and then Toru just finally snaps no more things. And it's like you dead. Shut the Uncle. I took you in. I did this. And it's kind of like way certain parents talk to their adult kid, and it's Toru has a legit argument against Uncle, who's just a crotchety old man half the time, and very annoying half the time. More so than Jade here and there. It's I follow your orders to do this locator spell. I up to this point I didn't I didn't whine about or complain about anything. I followed all your orders to the letter. I go gallivanting around the world. I cook, I clean, I do all this stuff, and it's instead of a thank you, I get one more thing, and it's he's right. I feel, especially as a, like I understood that as a kid, but I even more so understand it now while I'm older. And it's like, dealing with like certain parents of mine who like, by and large, won't like. You ever dealt with like a parent that never wanted to like show any appreciation to the kid? It just felt like, you're our kid, just do it, and it's like, and just deal with it without just showing any kind of appreciation, like like you see you as a kid and not as a person with feelings and deserving of some admiration for a job well done half the time, that kind of thing. So I understand Toru what he's feeling. I'm pretty sure a lot of people do, and their bickering, escalates, over there, where it's kind of like intruding upon the mission at hand, especially when, because of that fighting, the mask sneaks off on Toru's backside and starts hopping on more backsides, bite its teeth until it ended up in Finn's car, and since it's face down, Finn sits down and somehow it still adheres to his backside and works, and it's like, I would feel that it needs to be on a face to do its job, and not just because it has a backside with a crack in the middle. It's like, at the very least, it's adhere to one of the butt cheeks, not because like it's not. You try to put a mask in between, like on your butt, like where like the crack in that goes, sits right in the middle of the mask. It wouldn't be able to stick or adhere to any surface of your body, because that gap in between the crack begins and the mask meets, or the mask ends. At the very least, have it adhere to one of the butt cheeks. At the very least, it has some, something to adhere to. But beyond that, it shouldn't work unless you actually have it on your face. But that's cartoons funny. It's played for comedic effect and not be taken too seriously. But still, it's like, it was weird. But this is the first time where Finn is the one who's taking his mask off, because like Finn, for a while, have to go to the freaking bathroom, and it's like, and the mask won't let him go, and it was just like a funny moment. It's just like, and then the mask wants to put itself on Toru's face, considering how big Toru is, if he wants an imposing figure like that. So he wants to, be removed, but make sure they have Toru, captured, so that way his face will be put on Toru's face. Doesn't work that way. Finn used the Japanese cherry blossom that they brought in to remove the mask, but Finn take it off and ditch the mask so he can finally use the freaking bathroom. And it's just funny at the end where he just like, just bum rushes inside a cafe just to use the freaking bathroom. Man, do I feel his pain. You remember you feel like you're in the middle of something, or something's catching you up and you're desperately looking for a bathroom, and it's like, or if you're on your way home and there's nowhere to like stop in between, so you're like you burst in the door of your home and it's like just runs to the bathroom, it's like that badly. We all should get that feeling. Next, the Orange mask. The mask. This is a Halloween episode where like Pako and El Frete, El Toro Frete, visit San Francisco to celebrate Halloween with a chance. And because of Jay's constant teasing of Paco's costume, who comes as a luchador, and she's trying to win like the scariest Halloween costume, making him feel bad, he sees the Oni mask that they captured, he puts it on, and he turns into another mask demon, and it's a squid type of Shadow Khan, and thanks to like the demon mask, on top of Tarakudo's coaxing, are attempting into feeding off the darkness from the mask. Pako is, his morals are perverted. His ideals of El Toro is now it's like, I'm even better than you, El Toro. And it's like, and then, just to buy time to get like the mask removal spell, which is technical of Japanese octopus. El Toro is buying time by challenging Pako to a wrestling match in the ring, and of course he's getting his butt because he's dealing with a demonic possessed Pako, and as El Toro always states, like El Toro Frete never removes his mask, but because he loved Pako much more than his code, he removes his own mask and speaks, try to connect with Pako behind the mask. Pako like hears it and like use the removal spell to remove his own mask with the final bit of strength and willpower he has. He took off the mask and saving everybody. It was like a nice little moment between Pako and El Toro. It was like a growth moment for him too, because showing it's a certain codes like you follow, but it's like when you care about somebody, more often than not they become, by the end of the day, they should be more important than any code that you live by. And it's a nice little moment. It's like, certain moments of Pako is like very cool. And instead of just like a whiny towel boy that he usually is. I know there's a lot of Pako fans out there, but it's just like, he's cool. I like him enough, but he's like, beyond any center story that is involving him, where he's usually sidelined or just, Jay's little friend. He's just like a towel boy to a Toro. It's like a Toro is like this. A Toro told me that. It's like, it's like he's just like half the time he doesn't feel like he thinks for himself. And I'm glad they toned down like that, bickering back and forth between the kids. It's like, Jackie's the best. No, a Toro, Jackie, a Toro, a Jackie, Toro, Jackie, Toro, a Toro, Jackie, a Toro, Jackie. It's like, shut up. It's like, I'm glad they toned that down. That was, it became annoying after a point. Next is finally get the next mask, which is, well, no, not finally. This one is a cool one where Valmont comes back. He's pretty much like living in a hovel of an apartment. Barely got enough nickels to rub together at this point after his fall from grace from the incident with last season, and after what Shandu put him through and losing all his money from all this globe trotting they was doing throughout the season, where they're trying to release all the demons. He buys out on auction the Kuro mask, who summons like Crab Khan, or crab-like demons, or a crab-like Shadow Khan, and it was actually broken in half, and Valmont put on 1.5, and it summons half of a Shadow Khan, but still formidable to a certain extent. And they don't want the other half to be merged, because then they'll feel like that particular Shadow Khan will be nearly unstoppable. But Jade, just to keep the other half away from Valmont, puts it on, but it's slowly starting to, even more slowly than normally, taking over the host. But in order to remove this mask, they need tears of a Japanese monkey. So they can't, and the Japanese monkey, apparently, I'm not sure how true it is, but a Japanese monkey only cries once a year. So it's like, that was all the vow they're going to get, and they got to track that down. But they end up taking that off with, Valmont deciding it's more trouble than it's worth. But man, it was like a huge fall from grace for Valmont. But it was nice to see him. But it's like he still kind of like a chump of a individual. Well, not a chump like the enforcers, but it's kind of like wow, he was, I feel like he was, such of a threat. Like he even like was able to like hold his own against Jackie in the first season after he poisoned Jackie Chan, and him slowly turned into a statue. But now it's like, wow, how the mighty have fallen. But it was fun to see him again. But then finally, the next episode, like Kaku finally got a hold of the Masuk Jurin mask at the Shaman Minicon, which everybody has like a lot of fun dealing with, making fun of him until they see this Minicon is probably almost the most deadliest version, where they eat shadow and grow bigger, almost kaiju level size, depending on how many shadow they end up eating. And then it kind of like forces like people to go unconscious when their shadow, which connects it to their chi, is drained. They're just husk pretty much, or at least they're comatose. They left comatose. And in order to remove this mask, they needed just regular fish, which is ironic because Toru hates fish. But Haku finally got his own little mask. But the look of disappointment when he thought it was like just puny little Shadow Khan, and everybody sitting there having like a laugh at his suspense. What's that? What about this episode really stuck out for me? Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else that probably stuck out for this episode, but just Haku finally get his little moment to shine with a mask, right at the tail end of the season. Of course, there was like a few filler episodes, and it's not as much as previous seasons because it's only 13 episodes, and they kind of want to. I guess they had like a mandate. It kind of reminds me of how like they did after Daredevil season 1, and when the Netflix and Marvel shows were a thing, it became like a mandate that they should have like equal amount of episodes as the first season of Daredevil moving forward. So that's probably why they got in trouble as much as they did, because they probably wasted a few episodes on stuff that could have shortened a bit. They kind of had to drag it out. So I'm pretty sure they had back then like a mandate. Okay, make it 13 episodes this time. Not as long as the 26 episode season that they had previously. But the few fillers is one where the enforcers, I'm not sure where it falls in line. Probably the way it probably was set up was probably after the arc of the Tarakudo Demon Mask arc, where maybe after that incident, maybe they was trying to go straight, just like because they got tired of losing, and it's one of like turn on a new leaf, using Toru as an example. But that obviously didn't work out well. But they did have like a decent moment trying to like help deal with like this thief called Strike Master, who is pretty much like a Strike Master Ice, who has his own associates, MC Cobra and DJ Fest. He talks in the same vernacular as like Eminem mixed with Vanilla Ice. Very not overtly stereotypical like black guy voice, but it's like in the same vein as like Eminem. which as an Eminem fan, I didn't pick it up as a kid, but I always thought it was like a weird decision. But because that was hot at that time, so we looked over that. Looking back on it, it was kind of dumb. And then of course it's like Deja Vu. This is like one of those kind of episodes where it's like the reminiscing episode. Some shows have where they go, reminisce about certain adventures that they have. And you do flashback kind of episodes. This one kind of handled it pretty smart when like Delon Wong was released on good behavior kind of situation, and he's tracking down this MacGuffin item, the Deja Vu stone, if you can believe it. That's the name. Where he hopes to use it to go back in time to the past adventures to change events to the way he likes it. So if he goes back in time to try to collect the noble animals and make sure he comes out on top, they try to avoid that. But all the while, as Jackie accidentally slipped through the time portal with Dalong Wong using the Deja Vu stone, Uncle and Jade watches along as they use like a portal to randomly trying to get him to a spot where Dalong Wong is. But it's taking him a bit while because he's going through other events prior until he eventually comes along the way to Dalong Wong. And like Jay is like a moment for Jay mostly, where it's like she's on the outside looking in from all the times that what we witnessed for her doing that we always probably thought it was pretty dumb of her. She sees all pretty much her mistakes that, like, for one, landed Jackie like with a broken leg one time, and like all the other dangers that she because of her childish ways ends up putting Jackie in harm, and she has like little epiphany of sorts. It's like asking Uncle, like, am I more trouble? Am I causing more trouble than I'm helping, Uncle? And it's like, of course, Uncle tries to console her. It's like, but then towards the end when he finally get a hold of the Deja Vu stone, he's at the moment in time where like Jay was first introduced. He was trying to call her parents, knowing what the future holds at that moment, trying to avoid her, her getting involved so she won't be in danger. And Jay's worried that because this might rewrite history, she won't be a part of this thing she's been in for such a long time, and she might lose all that. But for some reason, Jackie like gets like a huge flashback in his mind. I'm not sure if it's the Deja Vu stone or not, but he just getting this little recall of all the times Jade actually helps, more so than she causes problems. And there's been many occasions where she did save Jackie's life, and without her, he probably would have died. At least in those couple of those moments, and he changed his mind, and and the figure is, it was better she stayed. It was, and it's like it was a nice growth moment for Jade when she realized it's like, I don't think it like was toned down that much, but it's like I said, it's like a filler episode. It doesn't feel like that kind of amounts to the overall narrative moving forward, but it was like one of those humbling moments. Maybe it's like the writers wanted like at least one moment where Jade realizes that she probably needed every once in a while should listen to Jackie when he says something's too dangerous. But like I said, it didn't feed into the overall narrative like it probably should have, to show some bit of growth. But then the other one, which I thought was in the season 5, but I think I guess I was wrong. but maybe it will come up again because I remember a certain scene that that it, well, you'll know what I'm talking about. J2, The Rise of the Dragons. This was kind of like as the Amazon Prime trivia mentions, kind of like a reminiscent to uh, Terminator 2. Even so far as using a bit of the theme mixed with the Jackie Chan Adventures theme, where the adult Jade travels back in time using Uncle's spell to stop Shandu's son from resurrecting uh, uh, dragons in the future to revive Shandu. And time is imminent because once Shandu is revived, thanks to these dragon teeth Drago acquires in the future, Shandu will wake up and end up killing Ataida, Uncle, and Jackie. So she travels back in time to reacquire the dragon teeth way before Shandu's son even comes into play. But Drago, son of Shandu, follows her and attempts to try to kill past Jay in order to avoid current Jay from who's ahead of Section 13 now, from interfering. It was a cool moment. It's just like just to see like what Jay would turn out in the future, and it was like she's the complete overall badass thanks to her time with Jackie Chan and his influence on her, shaped her to be the woman she turns out to be. And it was a nice moment between her and Jackie, like telling her like, I'm extremely proud of the woman you grew up to be. And it was a nice little moment. And it's probably like one of the most, like, I have a lot of heartfelt moments of the series. This is one of my favorites. It's like, it's not cheesy. It's enough is said that need to be said to, drive in the point. And it's a nice little community moment between older Jade and little Jade. It's like, the history test and coming up next week, study chapter 8 or something like that. It was a nice little moment. I'm pretty sure like anybody who gets to time travel back in time and meets up with their younger self, if anything they will do, they don't change much. But if you give a little inside tip, just like a small little tip, nothing too life changing, like like a little inside tip on like a math test or something like that, you probably would throw one out there. Throw your past self a bone of some sorts. But that was a nice. That's out of the filler moments. That was one of my favorite fillers. And then of course, the J team comes back to deal with Chang, who was a constant like side villain for these. It was like overarching villain for the J team for these fillers. And it's a nice matter of fact. Now that I'm thinking about it, as far as like fillers are concerned, this was like a brilliant idea. Now I'm thinking about it, as far as like utilizing fillers, for like an overarching villain, in at least in this way, seems like a pretty good idea. If you're using like fillers in each season, like 2 or 3 fillers in each season, dealing with like a reoccurring side villain that's not like a big threat globally, but just like a localized threat of some sort. That is a cool idea. I just want to throw that out there. I think that was brilliant because I like Chain, and he bringing in his kind of like his evil J team, and then Jade and trying to help, and she's just annoyed being treated like a minor when she's want to like she, as he feels, I'm the one who created J team, I should be the one leading it. It's like, take a moment to think for a moment, kid. You are a child. Yes, to be fair, you did come up with the idea to bring in all these good guys that y'all met along the way on your adventures to form this J team. But realistically, how much of an asset will you be when dealing with someone who's an international terrorist, or at least international arms dealer of some sorts? Not much of a help. Like, I wouldn't say she's like a liability, but she would be in the way, definitely. But she casts a spell that causes the group to turn to young kids. But she fires back and turn like the evil J team into kids as well, so it'll be kind of like an equal playing field until Uncle changed the J team back to adults, and like the evil J team are still toddlers, so they pretty much like, I'm not sure if they end up turning back into adults later on, or because it'd be kind of cruel to keep them as children. But we never knew what else happened to them. They were just hauled off, and just like try to be in prison in some fashion. But then we'll finally wrap up the season where they acquired the Aka mask, who apparently utilizes Mantis type Shadowcon, but and then used Japanese leads to remove that mask, but nobody actually wore this particular mask. But this is the episode where we find out about Tarakudo's mask, who has the ability to control all of the various Shadowcon, and in order to deal with him, needs the hair of a samurai, or a descendant of one at least. And this was a cool episode where like finally like the culmination of all their efforts is being wrapped up. But unbeknownst to them, bringing all these masks together is a bad idea, because once they are brought together, because they were put separate for a reason, just like with the talismans, they are kept separate mostly for a reason to keep out of the hands of like Shandu, but in this case Tarakudo, because once they are together, they breaks the seal essentially and revives the demon generals in their true demonic forms, and they start to take their leave on various parts of the world, because they'll start casting a shadow, darkening the world in shadow, and to decrease their overall power. The J team tried to stop them, but the efforts are in vain, as Tarakudo pretty much like starts like helping his generals along the way, but they come to realize to stop them all at once, they need to stop their leader Tarakudo. So in order to do that, because Tarakudo is essentially a spirit, they don't have his mask to stop him. So in order to do that, they need to bring out his mask to essentially revive him as a complete demon, and then use that mask to put on his face so he can be sucked into the mask. So there's a lot more effort involving in order to defeat Tarakudo than any of the other generals. But with Tarakudo as a demonic body is more of a physical threat, which is, I argue, probably more dangerous than his spirit headless form, where he's just utilizing his telekinesis here and there. But he was scary. He was funny, but he has scary moments too. Once given Tarakudo's physical form, they put the mask on, and that pretty much sucked all the Shadowcon, all the shadows, the generals, all into Tarakudo's mask itself, and they locked away Tarakudo's mask to never be used again. So that was pretty much like the end of Tarakudo. But this overall season, like honestly, like I said, this is probably more fun of an episode, relatively short of an episode compared to the others. Because the last season was just 17 episodes, while the previous one was like in the 30s, and the first season was 13 episodes again. So I think their sweet spot is usually 13, at the most maybe 17. But then again, they dealing with fillers, so it's kind of like you take out any filler unnecessary episodes. Yeah, roughly 13 episodes would have sufficed. But yeah, dealing these mass generals is probably about as much fun as the first season. We're dealing with the talismans and seeing them utilize. It's just fun to see, and seeing these masks in use and seeing all these different types of Shadow Khan. Matter of fact, I want to do a little bit of research, but about like where these Shadow Khan, like and these kind of tribes, see if there's any kind of origins beyond them. But because I do have like a particular set of videos dedicated to the chaotic series with like lores about like the different tribes of overworld, underworld, Danian, Mepedian tribes, and like different characters from the series and stuff like that. I toyed with the notion of doing one for Jackie Chan Adventures, and then but I am considering doing one for if you remember, this anime is one I really love. What was it? Zatch Bell. I really want to do one for Zatch Bell, but doing like the research and sending the videos is like there's a lot of research involved, and trying to pull that stuff together in like our writing draft so I can know what to say and what to describe and all that other stuff. Don't know if I'm toying with the notion of doing one for Jackie Chan Adventures after I finish with the spoiler reviews for the show. I don't know yet. I'm on the fence about it. But if you want me to do something like that, please leave a comment below. I'll leave it up to you guys. If you want me to do like a history of a series of videos for Jackie Chan Adventures, going over different characters, different artifacts throughout the series, I would consider that if there's more of a if there's more of a need from you guys want me to do something like that. Especially if you love the show as much as I do, please let me know. But that is season 4 of Jackie Chan Adventures. Eventually we'll go through season 5 some point next probably later this month into next month, more than likely, and that'll be the end of that. I'm pretty sure that I'll be going over Duel Masters and Card Captors next after that's all said and done, because there's only like there's one season of Card Captors I want to go through, but then Duel Masters is another anime card game series that I really want to go back to, but there's other stuff, because since there's not much new games that I want to get that's coming out this year, I can probably have more time to do so, but we'll see how that all pans out, because got a lot of irons in the fire. So don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Follow me on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/talkativecarl. If you have any ideas for any topical discussion videos you want me to talk about, or any comic book reviews or TV show reviews that you think I should do a spoiler review on, I will definitely put it on the list and make it a priority for you and give you guys a shout out, whoever made the request. Have done so in many other videos, especially in the chaotic lore videos. check those out and many of the other videos that might pique your interest. And I will see you guys next time for more reviews. And of course, check me out on my Twitch channel that I do video game walkthroughs of, twitch.tv/talkativecarl. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.